Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. So here we are once more. We are in 25 Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. Now, we have been having some rather interesting discussions, actually, between the last stream and tonight, actually. And I really find it rather interesting. We've had... See, this is what I love. I love to have opposing opinions. I love to have opposing thoughts and ideas. I mean, that is the main thing here. It's all about the ideas. I mean, everything is an idea until it's actually put into effect. So, therefore, nothing can be discounted, nothing can be disregarded. And from that, this is where I really do truly believe that this is a collaborative series rather than mine solo. It's because at the end of the day, you are, like, the opinions here really do matter. Hello there, Carl. And we better sink those damn cargo ships new man, I will flip a table. Yeah, we are going to have to go practically all in at New Maya. But I've been having some rather fascinating discussions with Infinite Monkey, actually. And it has really sort of swayed my opinion to a degree, actually, on how we should actually use our carriers during this operation. Now, what we've been discussing here, and the good thing is I'm actually recording this in Windows, so I can actually bring the drawing tool here. Now, let's see. So what I'll do here then, just one second, let's see. So we've got them set to patrol. Now we were looking at how far we could make it over there towards Fiji, but what we're going to do then is obviously have them set towards their proper destination, which is going to be about here, and I think it is just to the left there. Also, just to the west there of the New Hebrides Islands. About 6, we can go for... let's see, can I make it a little bit further? I think it's about here that we can make. That's about 5. Or can I make it here? Let's see. I know we can make it much further, can't we? Okay. Hello there, Ragnar, how you doing there, my friend? Yeah, I'm just getting them set up into a location as to where I want them to be, and then we'll talk about it. Now, the question I wonder here is really, do we deploy closer to New Caledonia? Or do we deploy closer towards Fiji? But I'm going to say probably towards New Caledonia, considering that, yes, we need to commit to one, we can't really commit to both, can we, effectively? So I think we're going to go for the New Caledonia first strategy. What do you guys reckon? I think it's probably the best we'll get here. Right. See, the question is there anything else in these waters? That's what we don't know, but we are going to go with the assumption that there's probably not a huge amount of resistance here. I mean, this is it, we don't know where the American carriers are granted, but I don't think they're going to be in this area. I mean, I base that really on the reports that we do have, that allegedly there are American carriers at Pearl Harbor. Now, we can actually make superb movement here. As you can see here, we can make 9 hexes at full speed here. New Maya should be priority indeed. Now, if we take a look, we're well within range here over New Maya. Yeah. Similar ranges, we can easily cover all the New Maya. Now, the good news about being this close to the actual island of New Caledonia is we are going to reduce our operational losses dramatically so. It's like, what you have to bear in mind is that these planes obviously have like a normal range, a normal operational range, and then an extended operational range. Well, an extended range, I should say. So that's what we need to bear in mind here. Now, the closer we are to the actual target, the better, as we'll have less losses there, obviously from battle damage that has been sustained, that sort of thing. Is music a little bit loud? Let's turn that down slightly. Yep, hello there, pirates. We've only been going about 2 minutes. Now, what I've been intrigued by is, for example, let's say, okay, so Kidabutai is going to be in position here. So Kidabutai is going to be able to push the envelope over the entirety of New Caledonia, and quite far out there, beyond New Caledonia, actually. And the B5N2 Kates have an operational range all the way out to 9 hexes. Obviously, they will be operating to the best of their ability about 8 hexes, obviously, when they can use that load effectively. Though, I think they can go to about 9 with torpedoes. I'm not entirely sure. I think it might be that they use the bombs thereafter. Yeah, I'd surmise that it's probably the bombs at 9 hexes, but about 8 hexes we have the torpedo bombers. Well, torpedoes. So we'll easily cover all of New Caledonia. The good thing is as well, we'll be able to cover beyond New Caledonia in quite a large area. So let's take a look at how large that area is. So, 1, 2, 3, 4... Right, we know that is 4 here. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Assuming that's 4 again. So let's double check. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What we're doing here is we're sort of plotting out roughly our... Well, roughly the area of which we can engage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. So if we link these up here... Whoops. Might as well be a bit drunk there with how badly I've drawn them. We'll do one down here then. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8! Ha ha ha! Oh dear. Okay, shit. Is it there? Or is it about there? I think it's about there. Okay. So, that is roughly the B5N2 range. That's a fucking W. Okay. Hello there, Ethan. How you doing, my friend? Combat air patrol over the transports, or will the carriers get there first? See, we do have the advantage here in the fact that, let's plot out the actual movement. So this is going to be Kido Butai 1. And we'll get Kido Butai 2. Just, yeah, fuck me. I swear to God, I'm dyslexic sometimes. Right, yellow. Okay, so what we can see here then is Kido Butai 2, which is obviously the Karga and Akagi, is going to be making their way to about here. They're moving about mission speed, aren't they? Now, Kido Butai, as in the main part of Kido Butai, is going to be sweeping around here towards this position. So, what we do have the advantage of is the fact that we'll have A6M2 that obviously do have 14 hexes of range at maximum range. We'll have them there, we'll also have them there. We also do benefit from the fact that we should have E13A1s, I think, in both forces over here. We might be able to even transfer some around if necessary. But the good news is then that obviously gives us reconnaissance out to a range of about 10 hexes. I mean, obviously we could even use the dive bombers in reconnaissance roles. We have a lot of options here. I mean, even the torpedo bombers in a reconnaissance role, but I don't think it'd be necessary. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be worthwhile using A6M2 to actually scout. I don't think it'd be a worthwhile investment. I want to catch up on this series, but I've just missed so much that I don't know where to start. Well, the best way to do this, my friend, is if you go through the playlist and you just look at part 1 of every episode, and you'll be able to see the actual combat resolution, and that'll give you a good idea of where we're at. But this is where things really start to get very, very interesting. We are finally coming towards the actual culmination, the actual sparking of the conflict, but has been quite a few weeks in the making here. So actually very, very exciting stuff. And you know what? I get to draw a lot here, this is what I love. So, we are going to have the landed forces and effectively operating under A6M2 umbrella, really, for the most part. Now, the question is, do I have to directly escort them? I don't believe so. I think what we'll be able to do here then is draw fire towards the carriers, but the carriers should, if they're operating within 1 hex of the actual fleet over here, they should be able to run their combat patrol as well to aid the ships around them. So what we'll try to do then is actually steer the landing forces to actually move all together as a single unit, perhaps. Could a smart idea be sending zeros out to Kidabutai 1 from 2, 3 combat patrols so you have more planes with the bombers? Well, what we're going to do here, and this is what I was discussing here with Infinite Monkey, is it's a very good point actually. I think I believe that he makes here, and that would be that we shouldn't actually use our bombers to hit Noumea. We'll use our bombers to hit what's in the port, but we are going to really keep them purely on port attack and naval attack, I'd say, for the most part. The reason for that is we can see here that he is reinforcing, potentially Noumea. We don't know whether he's actually reinforcing it. I'd imagine he probably is reinforcing it. Or very well, he could actually be trying to pull out. It's really undetermined at this point in time. Now, we have to theorize, really, from the fact that we can see here that Noumea, Suva, Fiji, just Fiji in general, the Fiji Islands and Samoan Islands, have been more than likely reinforced in the weeks that have been really passing us by. So I'm going to go ahead and just assume that probably Noumea has received some reinforcements to some extent, at least. Now, what worries me is AA guns, really, for the most part. They could inflict some damage upon our actual air carrier crews, and the thing is, it's like, we don't have many pilot replacements that are going to be as good as the guys that we have right now, so we do need to look after them. We also need to look after our planes, because I think what we need to do here then is really neutralize the American Navy, the US Navy here in the area, as well as the Australian Navy, New Zealand Navy, as well as the British Navy if there's indeed any assets out here, as well as the small amount of French forces, I'd imagine, here as well. So I think what we're going to go ahead then is I'm going to take on Infinite Monkey's actual advice here and actual reasoning, because I do agree with it. It's like, it's one of these things I do agree with. I think what we'll do here then is we'll use Kidabutai to strike and destroy the allied naval assets in the area. From there, we'll look at actually hitting the airfields to an extent, though I'm not going to be too keen on actually hitting the airfields that potentially Noumea, Nardi or Suvrit. Oh, it does depend. We'll see what the sort of resistance is, but we'll see what we can do. It might be that we actually sweep out these airfields to actually draw out the combat air patrol and really get an idea of what we're dealing with here. The biggest, well, the most key thing to do now is going to be obviously play this slowly, build up the reconnaissance that we do have. Now, I suppose I'm making a mockery of what I've just said there by having Kidabutai surge forward, divided as well, which is quite dangerous. But I believe it can be accomplished, and I'd say, really, at the end of the day, if we can destroy these troop transports, I have to assume that he's probably reinforcing New Caledonia. So we did just catch them as they've arrived in the area. So we really do need to actually destroy them before they can offload or load up whatever's there. You have no idea where an attack would come from. Using long-range combat patrol is less efficient than using native combat patrol. It's a technique you use to focus combat patrol of an area that cannot natively fly in its hex. Yeah, connect there, Infinite Monkey. Hello there, Tim Schultz. How's you doing, my friend? Yep, so we're just discussing actually the thoughts and the conversation that we had earlier there, Infinite. You can't guarantee Kidabutai 2 will not be attacked. Yep, exactly. So we are going to run them. We're going to run the actual convoys all really together. I'm going to have like Kidabutai 2 actually run alongside the convoys really. So we'll see what direction they want to take, and then we'll use that. I would like to take one of these islands here. The reason being, I'd like to have that option to fall back to something that we actually do hold. The question is going to be really, are any of these islands actually given a port? We do have a port capacity here, which is nice actually. I'm not going to lie, that is actually quite good to have as a fallback. I'd say I'd use possibly the smallest force. Though we'll take a look at what is on board. It might be even that we wait until tomorrow to even decide if we are going to do that or not. The reason being then at least we can actually see what sort of resistance is on New Caledonia itself. We are going to completely and utterly concentrate here on New Caledonia, because at the end of the day, he won't be able to oppose us from Fiji. He won't be able to stop us at Fiji. And it will be rather interesting. So how many planes will you have at your disposal? So in Kidabutai 1, we will have... Let's take a look. We'll have a total of 267 aircraft over here. So if we take a look at the numbers, 88, give or take, are fighters, 89 dive bombers, and 90 torpedo bombers. Obviously not huge numbers there. Around 400 aircraft in total if we obviously have all of them included. But yes, it's still a force that should be sufficient to ward off attacks. We don't anticipate any American carriers down here in this area. And I'm really banking on the actual amount of reports that's been building up over here. I feel it could very well be that American carriers are here. I think it does fit what I feel from where we've been in the campaign. For instance, when we were chasing the American carriers at the start, we did move all the way down here in the south. We did have quite a large, wide arc out here. Now, granted, they obviously could have still proved that, but it would have been somewhat difficult. They would have had a lot of opportunities to have obviously been detected. Now, they were never detected if they did indeed move to the south. But what I feel happened is rather... So we did get a sort of sight and somewhere around about here. What I feel is he eventually turned around and just went back to the US, which does make a lot of sense considering that he will then be able to concentrate his carriers, and I imagine that possibly a return leg from the US down to Pearl Harbor could be very much possible. Can you use bombs instead of torpedoes? Yeah, we can definitely just use bombs if we so wish to. We might consider actually just using the actual bombs there, but we'll decide on that. I think it's one of these things of... I don't know, we'll see. We could very well decide on it, because I think at the end of the day, bombs are great, but I'd like to actually hit and destroy the target with as little munitions as possible, but then again, it's a case of, well, we don't really want to be throwing away our munitions, do we? So, I suppose that one's up for debate. I'd like to hear some opinions on that one. Should we use bombs or should we use torpedoes? Because we are well within range. And, I don't know. I suppose it depends on one of the things here. The torpedo bombers aren't exactly great dive bombers. The dive bombers, so the D3A1 Vals, they're okay. If we take a look at their data, we can see that they're carrying a 250 kilogram general purpose bomb. But the thing is, the general purpose bombs are okay against something that has little to no armor. But I think against the actual warship of the light cruiser, I mean, granted they will still be effective. I think I'd rather use torpedoes. It's hard to say then. You can turn them off, but until you have US Navy, carrier sightings, you might end up bombing them instead of CVs. Torpedo bomber accuracy of bombs and all less than accuracy of dive bombers. Yep, that's correct. So, yeah, I think we'll actually keep the torpedoes on for the time being until we really are certain really what is in the area. At the end of the day, if something does come close to us, which is very possible, these guys are not far away. They might actually make a full steam movement towards us to actually counterattack. We'll stick to our guns. I think what we are going to do here then is, let's take a look at the actual convoys over here. Now this is a difficulty because obviously these guys are somewhat separated. We could, yeah, let's take a look at this then. It might be that perhaps we take one of these islands to actually regroup on, or group up at, and then move forward together as a single block. Rather than moving in piecemeal. I think that might be the best idea. I think at the end of the day, we can take our time to actually reduce the enemy forces. Though, what I'd say here is the way to reduce the enemy force is to actually use our battleships. Now, for example, we do have Nagata and Mutsu. Now, of course, we do have their large guns, which are very effective. Yeah, we do have a limited number of torpedoes, you are quite correct. You could use 2 torpedo bombers with 2 torpedoes and 2 torpedo squadrons with bombs. Always use dive bombers, it's more accurate and will definitely be better for smaller ships like a light cruiser or a cargo ship. Well, what we could do here then is we could have the actual dive bombs committed to a port attack potentially, as obviously then they'll hit the ships in the port, and then perhaps we keep our torpedo bombers on naval attack. Though, frankly, I think I'd rather keep them both on naval attack because at the end of the day, we're not going to be splitting our forces then. The worst case scenario could be that perhaps a ship shows up and only the torpedo bombs are out there. See you there, Ethan. Have a good one, my man. I'm going to take you up on your suggestion to watch part 1 of each episode. Yeah, that works out. At the end of the day, you can actually just see the combat resolution and you'll be able to figure things out from there, really. Yes, we do have a seaplane carrier with... currently, it is over here with Kidabutai 2. I do believe. Yeah, we do have a G-Turfs over here. So we do have the ability to project additional float plane coverage out here, which is quite nice. As you can see here, we do have 46 float planes in total, 38 of them are ready here at the moment. I mean, we do have a Hiei and Kirishima. Their caliber of gun is 360mm, so they're not as large caliber, well, not the same caliber as the Nagata, which is about 400mm. Port attack will be better for the dive bombers, less flak up high. Well, the dive bombers will be going at about 10,000 feet regardless for the most part. The torpedo bombers are the ones that can go lower. It's going to be one of these. We'll see. We'll see. We might always have the opportunity with our submarines to actually hit beforehand. We do have a decent mix of actually... let's take a look. We do have, unfortunately, a lot of short range, but we also do have a fair few Jakes, which is quite nice. Yeah, and about 9 Jakes, so we do have some decent coverage out here. Though we do have 12 F1M2 Petes. See, what we could potentially do here if we actually hold these islands is have them set up in the future with float planes. Though, at this time, there would be little we could do with them due to the lack of aviation support. Now, I do have 4 E13A1 Jakes over here to Funafuti, which is giving us some nice detection out this way. At least we do have something to warn us in the future if there's something coming this way. Now, I can see that the enemy is out here. It might be worth us actually patrolling here. 356mm and 410mm. Fair enough. A little bit of a difference there from what we're seeing there, but yeah, I'll take your word on that. I'm sure that's actually accurate. Okay, severe storms of the target, which isn't great. If we take a look at the actual, right, forecast is overcast. Right, AA fires 3 times on approach, on attack, and exit. Divers are subjected to few AA. Nice. Okay, that's good for us then. See, we do have the first wave over here. Couple search planes out and about amongst the actual fleets here. We do have a lot of endurance I can actually siphon off with the actual battleships as well. But what I'm thinking here is potentially we use our battleships. And while we do have Kidabutai in the area, considering that we have actually secured the Solomon Islands and Guadalcanal, it could be fairly feasible for us actually to use our naval bombers. Possibly to... I mean, we'll run reconnaissance over Rabaul. But what I'm thinking here is if we do have the opportunity, I would very much like to base some sort of float plane or some kind of reconnaissance out over this way. And what we could do is we could have a battleship. And when the battleships come in here, bombard Noumea, and then with a small escort they could head back to truck to rearm. And then if necessary they could head back down here to actually bombard again. I think... I don't know, it's one of these things. I think a single bombardment could be quite effective. Yeah, I mean, this is it. It's like, ordinarily, we would be very much concerned about the actual amount of ammunition for our battleships. But we are in a unique position here due to the fact that, well, his carriers may very well be to the north, and we do have all 6 fleet carriers here in this small area. So I don't think it's going to be a case of the battleships deciding any fleet engagement. They will still retain some shells, granted not many shells, but it's the main guns that will be expended. Also, forecast of rain, thunderstorms being hit by surface ships mersing. Well, we have a forecast of overcast weather, but you do have to bear in mind we will not be using the entirety of the battleship's munitions. Most of the main guns will be gone there, but at the end of the day, that is the role of the battleship here in this area. We do need to make use of them. We are going to bombard Noumea before we hit it, and depending really on the resistance is going to decide whether we actually use aircraft. I'll say for the time being that we will most likely not use our aircraft until we have a good idea of what's going on. We'll see what sort of resistance we could be facing in terms of like amount of guns, but we'll see how we go on. So I think that's going to be quite important. We might then, in the turns afterwards, after we've actually neutralized these ships around New Caledonia, and ideally we are going to be running quite a lot of actual reconnaissance here. At the moment, I'm using 3 squadrons here to reconnaissance these 3 islands over here, which I do think is a correct move, because at the end of the day, we do need to detect if there's actually a float plane based over here. Not that particularly matters, but I do not want to give him any anchorage closer to us. I don't think there's any float planes that are capable of hurting us, but I do not want to have him using them. Well, then again, we might want to actually use them to do something else. Right, the seaplane carrier, it gives you an edge. You might seek it south and put the float planes on 100% naval search. Detection levels key to launch and CV attacks. Right, fantastic. Hello there, Mr. Bobby Socks. Gonna steal that Fiji water for the Imperial Japanese Navy? Yeah, pretty much. Hello there, Ruby. How you doing, my friend? Do you use any mods for this game? Yes, I do indeed. Now, if you want to go over and check out... So, 1 second. Yep. So, this would be my Discord here from the machine. Now, if you head down here to, let's see, War in the Pacific, there we go. If you head under the pin messages, you can actually see all the mods that are being used over here with all the convenient links. There we go. All of them are here, courtesy of our good moderator there. So what we'll do then, well, what I'll quickly do here then is actually get a link to the Discord for you guys, and there you'll be able to find the actual mods in question. Okay, there we go. Uno momento. Right, there we go. Hello there, Alfonso. How you doing, my friends? And will you sweep and bomb the airfield at Suva? I think we'll see what is at these airfields. I mean, we do have that option. I would very much like that option if necessary. But it is entirely going to depend on the situation at large, because granted, there's a lot of resistance here in this area we will not know about and we will need to discover. So, I do like the idea about having the seaplane carrier potentially move down to the south. It wouldn't... It would obviously have a certain risk involved there. I'd like to have it escorted by battleships, I'd say, potentially. We'll move forward a day first, and then we'll see really what we can see in the area. But that is going to be a very good option that we could use to actually increase that detection level in this area here. Ultimately, I'm going to have Kiributai actually move towards this area, and then we'll obviously strike towards the shipping out this way. But we'll see which comes first. We can see that we do still have a fair few warships down here at Auckland. I think we have caught THG at a very opportune time. I don't know what sort of endurance his warships will be looking at. I mean, I don't know how much fuel he had over here at Fiji to begin with. I'd have to imagine he probably has brought in additional fuel here. Though, is it going to be enough? I mean, there has been submarines around here almost continuously for the last few weeks, really. Those heavy cruisers that were spotted earlier would be nice to hit in Suva. Yeah, they definitely will be. I think in reality we can actually cause some considerable pain to the US Navy here in 1942, at least early 1942. Because at the end of the day, if we actually do sink quite a lot of naval assets out here, it's going to leave him with a bit of a void for some time, which will give us opportunities in the future, actually. Get all your transports together, and Kidwutai too, so they can transport each other, protect each other. Yeah, you are correct. I think that is a good statement. I think it's one of these things of we don't have to arrive here ASAP. We can take our time to an extent. So I think what we are going to do here then is actually we'll take this on board then, because it is correct. I'd rather have all these forces grouped up together. So we'd have let's take a look at what numbers we can potentially bring here, because that's going to be quite important. So let's figure this out. It will give us time to actually run reconnaissance over the island, and which is always going to lead. And if we have more detection level over New May, for example, it'll lead to more effective bombardments, more effective bombing runs, all sort of good stuff. Your geometry is wrong. Anything he wants out of the way is going to be headed away from you. You want to head southwest. Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking here is I'm not assuming it's going to be running. I'd imagine it's going to be running away from me. But I do fear he might have a suicidal attack over here. What escorts are with the transports? Well, what we'll do here quickly is actually just figure out the amount of men that we have on board here. I'm sorry if I don't communicate. I'm sorry if I don't communicate my ideas. Actually, sometimes I think sometimes I get a little bit too caught up with what I'm saying and what I'm going to be saying next. I don't always make it quite coherent enough. But yeah, just take me to task and obviously ask the questions and I'll give the answers. Right, okay. So we have here in total 5,446 troops here. We do have another additional 1,000 infantry plus another 1,000 or so second line troops over this way too. Hello there, Commissar Roach. How you doing, my hardy friend there? So yeah, just shy of 5,500 troops that could go in an initial wave. We would have then a second wave comprised of these troops over here for about 1,000 troops. We do have supply on its way. We do have additional forces on the way. We do have the base force over here. Obviously, this is not an actual combat unit. But it will be there to solidify our control. We also do have some guns here available, as well as the AA guns. Granted, they're not amazing, but at least we'll have aviation support, naval support, and support available very quickly. Right, we should also see... Yep, here we do have a small amount of fuel. We do have our supply over here. We are going to tell these guys to actually head up together to merge. Now, let's see, minimal refuel... What I'm going to do here then quickly is actually move the oil out of this force, because I do not want it to actually be siphoned off. I'm going to have these guys actually take the fuel from each other and share it out. So, minimal refuel. There we go, they've refueled at sea now, so that will keep them going. And we do retain the oil. Actually, no, it looks like they've taken that from the actual oil, so fair enough. I suppose they are refueling at sea, aren't they? So, never mind, never mind. At the end of the day, there's still a fair amount of fuel here, so never mind. Right, as you can see, that has reduced our operational... Well, the distance we can travel. So what we're going to do here, then, is meet this task force over here. So, Task Force 168. Merge. Okay. So that'll take us about 2 days for that to go ahead mostly. I'll tell them both to actually head towards each other and merge, and at least we aren't going to be wasting time trying to keep up with each other. So we'll probably merge somewhere around about this point here. Right, incompatible ships. You're gonna... okay, well. Cargo. Well, what we'll do here then is I'm going to actually have this ship detached and just assigned as a national escort. Right, not meet, sorry, follow this unit here. Task Force 100. Yeah, that's fine. Hello there, black shirt. Hirohito gang gang. Ah, you're doing just fine, dude. Oh, Commissar Roach, I didn't realize you made content. If you want to, feel free to share a link here. Actually, go ahead on the Discord and send me a link to your channel. I'll share that on the Discord. And for those of you who are not aware of Commissar Roach, he does make some content on YouTube. I can't ascertain to whether it's fantastic, but I'm going to say it's pretty good right now. So I'd recommend checking him out. I like the aggressive strategy with the subs, but how will you replace them? We will have to replace them in time, even in the Marshall Islands or over here at Truck. It would be ideal for us to eventually start to look towards Tarawa to be able to replenish them, or even down here at Funafuti, but it is going to be an interesting ordeal when it does come. We do have a couple days before we do have to really think about replenishing them. Some of them are lower than others, and some of them do have fairly okay endurance. But we'll see. We'll have to obviously move the fuel out here. Okay. Do you think THG might read the marshals as soon as he discovers your carriers are down there? Your entire logistics go through there, yeah. Yep, I think that is absolutely what he will be doing should his carriers be here, but it could be a very effective plan, and well, at the end of the day, it's based on historical precedent. It is an effective plan, and it would hurt me. But I think in reality, the plan I do fear is that of the Boulder plan, which would to be actually strike at Tarawa. The reason why I fear a strike here at Tarawa is because he does have a fair amount of information. He did in the past, he doesn't at the moment, but he knows there's a fair amount of shipping out here. At the end of the day, if he hits me at Tarawa, this is going to hurt. So I do have my tanker. Well, I do have a tanker over here actually. You're currently unloading fuel, going very, very slowly, obviously, due to this. What I might do here, then, is cancel that and have that made available to be sent down here, which would actually bring the amount of fuel that we have to just over 10,000 units of fuel there, give or take. Which is not bad, actually. Will you land all your troops at Numea, or will you land some at Comac? Well, originally, we were going to be sending some to Comac, but after... I mean, this really settles it here, because this could be reinforcements, but I think what we'll have to do here, then, is... it depends entirely on the resistance. If the resistance is light enough, I might send a second force to Comac. But in reality, considering that resistance here is uncertain, we are going to envision the worst. So if we prepare for the worst, then it's going to be no surprise if it actually does turn out to be the reality here. Okay. So I did have a question earlier on about what is actually escorting our forces out here. We do have the Fiji cover force, which consists of the 2 battleships Nagata and Mutsu, 2 heavy cruisers further for attack on the Cacao, and 3 destroyers. We also do have in the actual landed force here, the Hamakaze destroyer, 2 patrol boats, a cruiser mine layer, the Sagaro. And granted, she's not an actual warship as such, but she is armed, and she is somewhat capable. She does carry an actual float plane. I wouldn't like her in frontline combat, but at least there's something here. Right. We also do have, obviously, the fleet carriers over here. And we do have a other heavy cruiser here, the Kunagusa heavy cruiser. We also do have the Aoba and Ikazi heavy cruiser and destroyer over here. So they're all escorting them. And then, of course, we do have Kiributai with the 6 fleet carriers and quite a few destroyers there. Then we do have the Hiei Kirishima, 3 heavy cruisers, a light cruiser, and 2 destroyers here as well. It's funny how he feels every shadow. I think at the end of the day, it's like we have so very much on the line here. We need this operation to go right. We absolutely need this operation to go right. If it does go right, it will lead to something very different. Because at the end of the day, if we were to somewhat follow historical precedent to a degree, not that it's a terrible idea, and we could obviously do better than the Japanese, but what we have to do here is we have to push them into the unknown. If I push him into a known circumstance where the South Pacific is actually no longer freely open and available for him to use to move ships and supplies through, he is going to have to start to reevaluate his strategy. Now, ultimately, I would like to further project power here in the South Pacific towards Palmyra and Johnson Island, as well as ultimately in the far north of the Aleutians. The reason for that is I want to really keep him concentrated, well, basically keep him consigned here to Hawaii. And even if we can manage to keep him consigned to Hawaii, let's say that in the theoretical scenario we do secure these islands with minimal losses, we do not want to have the fleet on the front line. What we need to do here then is, it's somewhat hard to imagine, but if you guys are familiar with the late Roman Empire and its defensive strategy, we will be following the ideas of defense and strength. Well, sorry, defense in depth, I should say. So we'll have forward forces made up of, like, basically Foderati and other forces like that. Well, not the Foderati. I suppose the Foderati, actually. But the Foderati are going to be on the front lines to a degree. Obviously, you can imagine the German tribesmen, etc. Obviously, the quote-unquote barbaric soldiery. Well, at that stage, it's hard to tell really what was the difference between a so-called barbarian and a Roman. But we are going to be using these forward islands really to, first of all, identify a actual advance by US forces as well as Allied forces in general. And then from that point, once we have further information, we are going to actually try to attrition the enemy as best we can. At the end of the day, if Midway, for example, has no defenses that can obviously touch an enemy force, then yeah, the best thing they can do is actually just to keep them busy for the time being. From that point, what we will then do is actually look towards using the geography of the area, looking for the best time to actually strike in a counter-strike with Kiributai, which is going to be our actual mobile army, really. So that's going to be how we really go. Right, post a link on the content shown section. Yep, sure, I'll go ahead and share that here in the actual channel now. There we go. Oh, cool, you're playing some Battlefleet Gothic, actually. I really do like Battlefleet Gothic. It's just a shame that they really don't improve the game in the ways that they should. Like, you really need some formation buttons for damn sure. So, yeah, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Check out Commissar Roach if you've not heard of him. He plays Battlefield Gothic, so that's cool. I like him. Right, are you going to fly Zeros to the Marshals from the from Malaya? I considered that, actually. Of course, this operation comes at heavy cost of not taking the oil in Java, Borneo early on. We are in that process. I think it's one of these things, it's like, yes, the oil is going to be incredibly important, the fuel is going to be incredibly important, but what we need to do is we need to look at it in this way. We need to look at it, this is buying us additional time to actually take these resources. We will be taking these resources, granted not as quickly as we should have really, but at the end of the day, mistakes were made and experience has been gained since then. We are going to be striking towards Borneo, and we will be securing the Dutch East Indies. The campaign in Malaya is gaining speed, as obviously once we do secure Taiping, we'll then be able to make expedient progress down towards Singapore, and eventually take control of Singapore. Now, in the Philippines, we do have control now of Manila, which has fallen in a single day, which is nothing too particularly impressive. I mean, the Philippines did fall in about 3 weeks, I think it was. So we're not doing bad. We're kind of like okay in our time schedule here. But indeed, what we will be doing then is securing Clark. I might even try to secure Bataan to actually completely wipe out the US forces here in the Philippines to a degree, which would then open up two additional divisions to be sent elsewhere. We do have a division that will be sent from Takao, which is going to be the 56th Division from Formosa, which will be sent possibly to take over Mindanao in a fairly quick action, as we do have forces already earmarked for the south coast of Borneo. So let's say that the 56th Division does take control of Mindanao, which could definitely be done there. I imagine a division will have no problem doing such an action. And what we might then well do is potentially even take control of Celebes, or we might even move on directly towards Java. We'll see really how things turn out in this area at that point. Wouldn't a better example be the defense in depth, like the German strategy on the western front of World War I? True, but I like obviously the late Roman Empire, so I like to draw the comparisons there. You mentioned earlier that you have this house rule about not taking troops out of China. Does this not apply to him? He is clearly part of the flying tigers in Singapore. See, I've still not yet talked to him about this one, actually. It was a good point made, actually, that if we take a look at the commands that are actually assigned to this area, so let's say, for example, the headquarters that are assigned to, let's say, the Kewantong Army, is it? I can't remember. I think it's the Kewantong Army. Rather than having them actually taken out of China, we'd have to have them transferred to a command that is outside of China, and obviously pay the political points cost for that. So I'll speak to him about that one, because obviously that does make sense, and it is actually quite nice. It does have an actual point cost associated with it, which is quite good. And yeah, this is the thing. We only gain about, what, 60-odd political points per turn. We don't have a infinite bank in them. What's up there, Sniper? How you doing, my friend? Right, okay. Rightio. Yeah, troops. I mean, aircraft, we've been moving out ourselves, so we're no angel when it comes to that one. So we've had about, what, 42 minutes then about solid theory for the most part, which is what I freaking love, you know? I really love the theory. So let's get some actual orders sent out here. Is it 1942 late for the Philippines and Singapore invasion? Well, considering that we started the war in December and it is now the 1st of January, we're not doing too bad. Would a better plan not to be let your troops rest in the Philippines? We'll have some time in between, but we will have, well, we are going to leave one division here, depending on the situation. I'm late. When do you expect to put troops on the ground in the Southwest Pacific, Fiji, New Zealand, Australia operation? Well, let's take a look at this. What we are thinking here is we are going to take a small pit stop at Luganville. So we'll actually secure Luganville so we can actually shelter there to a degree. Okay, let's take a look. I'm going to look for the small force, really. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. That's a couple of squads of infantry. Do we have anything larger? So it's either that or the 700 men over here. We do have a fair amount of disruption here. See, the thing is, it's like we are going to be landing here with a fair amount of disruption. That's going to hurt, but we'll be able to get rid of that fairly quickly. Have you put any thought into maybe pushing some subs into the west and northwest coast of Australia? We do have some. We do have a duo of subs outside Melbourne and Brisbane at the moment. I'd love to put more subs. We do have one actually over by the Horn Strait. We do have a couple actually in the Coral Sea, which we will be taking a look at their position and actually considering to move them further. Though we are to some degrees actually limited when it comes to our endurance of said submarines, really. That's the limited factor that we have at the moment in that area. I mean, obviously I'd like to secure Rabaul and actually use it primarily as a submarine base, really, for the most part. Hello there, Paul. How you doing, my friend? Okay, so what do you guys reckon? Do we go with the, no, this would take too long to unload and, yeah, and offload. troops, yeah, what we'll do here is we'll probably, I'd say, we might have boots on the ground at Noumea, maybe on the 7th of January, give or take. The troops do have little in the way of supply, but that's not a worry. The reason that they do have little supply is because we were in a hurry. But we do have supplies behind, which is, yeah, as you can see, quite a few thousand tons of supply. About 18,000 tons of supply behind. As well as fuel here. We also do have a tanker that could be actually shifted out from Tarawa, which is what I'm going to be doing here. And that's a rather small force, isn't it? Well, we do have about 5,500 troops here. We do have an additional 2,000 troops here in total. Well, about 1,000 combat troops and about 1,000 support troops. We do have additional troops that could be made available for the third wave. Obviously, that would take some time longer. But for example, let's see, fuel the Chichijima Special Force over here. And we have, yeah, we have 5,800 troops over here, as well as artillery. So, if the situation does actually come about, what we will do then, of course, he's going to head over here to track, so we can actually get rid of the actual ships that aren't particularly useful. And what we could then do is obviously have them sent down here to New Caledonia, for example. Put some pain on the southern coast so that could be a right pain into HG's arse. Yep, you're correct. I say just hit them. Well, we can spend about 150 troops here just to secure the port of Luganville. The reason for that is we secure a port then, which does actually allow us to shelter here to a degree. I can also actually use this as something of a cargo depot, as something of a depot in a respect. Granted, it's only a size 1 port, but it would be handy, and Luganville could be built up into quite a large airbase in the future, so it would be quite nice to send a engineer unit out here at some point. But I'm thinking here that this is a good consolidation point. It's a fallback point. It could house float planes. It could also hold cargo should the operation be longer than really expected. I think we have to sort of approach this to in a very cautious but optimistic way. Yeah, no issues, my dude. Okay, I mean, this is it. It gives you a good sense of what is actually going on here. So we are going to take the ship with the 150 troops on. So let's see here then. Now, all of these troops are loaded in combat mode, which is fantastic. It does make it easier on our end here. Okay, but I do believe we should secure Luganville, as we are right next to it. Alright, is it this one I'm looking for here? I'll have to go through and actually grab them here. Yeah, correct, Carl. It's just so tempted to see all that prime real estate now. Almost defense is still in his hands. He must be swimming right now. As what is the overall strategic goal of the thrust towards New Caledonia? So the overall strategic idea behind this entire operation is fundamentally, so we'll draw out really how our supply lines work. So we'll take Tokyo over here. So basically our supply lines work something like that. So that's roughly our shipping lanes here. We obviously do have shipping lanes down here as well. Now, the American and the US shipping lanes. Now, for example, he'll have a shipping lane down here to Hawaii, which is somewhat harassed. Not as well as I would like it, but it is somewhat harassed. Now, he does then have a shipping lane that goes all the way down this way. Of course, he could have a shipping lane that went like that, but I would say that wouldn't be rather dangerous and therefore probably not likely used. So, what we're trying to do here is basically annihilate this safe position here. We do not want to have him using a shipping lane without duelness. We want to make sure that we can interdict and ultimately sever this shipping lane here. So in reality, what we want to be doing by, I mean, this is what I've touched upon in the past. It's been a little while since I actually draw out the plan. But basically, we have what is known as the J42 plan and the J43 plan. Now, what this entails is basically the J42 plan is going to be that we secure, obviously, Malaya, secure the Dutch East Indies in 1942, and then what we'll be doing here then is obviously running our control over these islands. Obviously, Midway is what we have here. I'd very much like to take something of the Aleutians at some point in the future, but until then, we don't have control of that. So, roughly, this is going to be the J42 plan over this way. in the red. Now, that's what I want to try and achieve by 42, is basically to have this sphere of influence that the Allies are going to find difficult to actually approach. And this is why I'd like Johnson, because I could obviously span that out this way quite nicely. What we want to do here then is create a large buffer area through which the US forces have to penetrate without actual advanced reconnaissance nor advanced fueling stations for the most part, and obviously without Allied forces nearby. So what we will be doing then as well is in the J43 plan. I mean, the J43 plan is it's interesting because obviously it does really, it's more of a pessimistic plan. But what we'll be doing here then is really, I suppose it's hard to say really how the J43 plan is going to look, because obviously we do not know what we're going to lose. And what I'll do is really assume that possibly 1943, well, it's hard to say really what we'll hold in 1943, but basically the J43 plan for the most part is, let's go with the most dire circumstances that I think we could possibly predict in 43, is that our sphere of influence is perhaps pushed back to this extent over here to a degree, which could be done. So we do have to try and prevent that, but in reality, we need to hold this area of the Pacific, we need to hold this sphere of influence as long as possible, really. We have the New Guinea wall down here, which is quite nice. I mean, yeah, these islands do form an effective wall. The Dutch East Indies forms a wall down here, really. Quite narrow straits for the most part, quite easily controlled by aircraft, but this is the area that is most open. Okay. So the idea is going to be, I mean, yes, of course, we could actually run down here towards New Zealand. But if we take a look over here, so from New Zealand, it's not too far out. I mean, I'd like to potentially take Norfolk Island in the future to actually be able to range out over Auckland. But at the end of the day, what we'd do is we'd seek to secure the area with naval bombers, and then in the future be able to run raiding forces as much as we could, really. It really depends. There's a lot of undetermined factors, really. So it's like we can only really give off a general idea. And yeah. Yeah, he could go south, but the thing is, he does have the same constraints that I do, and that is going to be fuel and logistics, so he could very well go all the way down south here. But that is going to take a long time. It is going to be possibly under threat, and it's not easy for him. He's going to lose a lot of his great anchorages out here. So we'll see. Right. Any hex on this map is usable? Yeah, for the most part. And so if these stupid questions, I've not played. Right. A great strategy overview. I love the part of Wall of the Pacific, Admiral's Edition, Aurora Phoenix. All the small actions and decisions added up to meet your larger strategic ideas. Yeah, exactly. And just make sure you take New Zealand once you're done. I mean, we'll look at New Zealand. I'm not going to go for it for the most part because I don't think it's actually feasible. But we'll see how the situation really turns out. Because it's very undetermined, really. Whether it can be done, whether it can't be done, we'll see. It needs to focus on here and now. Later will come soon, but sinking his cargo and placing ships near his major ports, and then we'll help. Yeah, okay. God damn it, Carl. I knew you'd be doing that. Please throw subs into major port of New Zealand. Yeah, stuff in there. It's no good sending these ships, these submarines into the port here. I mean, there's... granted, we can't even make it into the port. There's a protected port. We can't make it in there. We are going to continue to patrol outside here. I'm going to divide these forces again. It is an interesting experiment to try them as a duo, but I can't afford to experiment here at the moment in time. We are going to try and catch him out. So what I'm going to do here then is actually have them patrol. I'd say about there. Are you from New Zealand? I am, in fact, English. Yeah, they can patrol there. What we'll do then is obviously set up a small patrol. Try and get them to move around. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. And the thing is, if we could take New Zealand, it would be obviously quite an achievement, but it's very difficult. It's very, very far out from our logistics. Like, for example, take a look at Auckland. Auckland is 125 hexes away from Tokyo. That's well over 4,000 miles away. That's a big old distance there. You can just send supply troops via Aden, Mombasa, Cape Town. It will be a bit more inconvenient, but less than a lack of fuel will be for you. Well, this is it. We are going, obviously, for the Dutch East Indies. It's not as if we aren't, so don't worry about that one. Thanks, your accent sounds very English to me, on Australian or exactly. And you killed 2 ships in New Zealand last time, right? Not in New Zealand. We did actually, no, you are correct. We did sink 2 ships in New Zealand last night. Well, yesterday, didn't we? We sank 2 small troop ships over here. We did sink a cargo ship out here as well, which is quite nice. Okay. Right, let's get these orders plotted out then. So obviously we do have our submarine moving down here. You're here as well? No. What do you, ladies and gentlemen, think then? Do we attempt a port raid here at Noumea? There's 1 warship that we can see. Now, question is going to be, what warship would this actually be? So if we take a look at the ship database and take a look at allied ships over here, and let's take a look and look at the actual light cruisers and really try to ascertain really what sort of resistance we could face here. Right, CAs. Right, CL. Any deception operations going on or planned? Well, we did technically have a deception operation going on in the fact of actually taking over islands around here, as well as obviously, really, I mean, Kitabutai and the invasion fleets moved without being detected for quite a while, actually. It's only been in the last 2 days that they've been detected, actually. So that's been very, very good. And obviously it would have been fantastic if we could have moved the entire way without being detected, but it was obviously going to be inevitable that we were detected. He probably had some idea as well due to his magic intercepts as well, so it's a very hard thing to achieve absolute secrecy, but we can try and get round about. Okay, so let's see, what could we imagine him using? What could he potentially have in the area? I think this Leander class is actually British, isn't it? I think that's British. It looks British. I want to try and gather an idea, really, of what anti-submarine warfare potentials he could have. Better than putting subs into ports to attack, drop mines, and then with submarine laying task forces will close ports as it moves. Yeah, that's a good idea. To be honest, I was considering actually doing that at Rabaul, actually. It could be very effective at Rabaul. Yeah, I think we'll try it. Yeah, we can definitely do that at Rabaul, actually. We'll consider it. Okay, so we do have the Brooklyn over here. It doesn't look like, for the most part, that they do have XW assets. As far as I can tell. Yeah, I'd imagine that Leander is British. Omaha. I think for the most part he won't actually have XW assets potentially aboard his light cruisers. But I'm not going to go in then, actually. The reason being, well, we have Kidabutai that is going to be here tomorrow, so we don't need to actually risk ourselves, risk these submarines like that. So yeah, we are content to patrol the area with 2 submarines, and if they try and move out, there's always a chance we'll hit them. We always have a chance to hit them regardless, so, well, regardless, that's quite nice. Okay. Put it in ports, moving things in and out of Rabaul is most likely taking things out only. Put it in Port Moresby, Sydney, Suva, Pago, etc. Is the plan to build up small resupply bases off the non-built-up bases at any point? Build up your own key bases that isn't formed off any of his. Allies do have a lot of mines, which you are quite correct. Like your own Pearl Harbor. Well, I mean, our own Pearl Harbor here in the Pacific is track, for the most part. This is what we need to try and shield here in the area, because we only have a few ports that are actually capable of rearming all of the ships that we have. And that is Truck. Truck is definitely capable of rearming. And she's expanded to a size 7 port now as we speak, which is quite good. She has a size 5 airfield, which is very good. Excellent, in fact. Okay. So, yep, stop waffling. Let's get these orders out then. So we're going to attach a ship with about 150, well, 170 odd troops. 9 squads there. 9 squads, okay, 9 squads does. You're aboard. Okay. We'll grab her then, so amphibious force. There she is. Hello there, Captain Krajik. We're just going through the motions here and actually deciding how we're going to approach the New Caledonian situation. I wonder if people tend to not use mines on the offensive because they don't generate as many direct intel reports. How much damage could he do with an air raid on the, well, with a raid on the Marsh Islands? Well, he can sink a lot of, like, shipping, really. I mean, I'd like to consider actually moving just shipping out of the area, but I think in some ways it's hard really to say how the situation is going to go. I think if he does actually attempt to move across the Pacific to actually strike us over at KYJ, I think the way to defeat that is primarily through detecting such an advance, because I think at the end of the day, if we detect such an advance, and it is going to obviously change his thinking, and I think what he's going to be waiting for really is to see my carriers committed to battle. So I think in some ways, by actually having Kiributai divided to an extent, we might actually create some indecision amongst his actual viewers and as well himself as well, because at the end of the day, if he doesn't see all 6 fleet carriers and he's thinking, right, okay, I saw 6 carriers beforehand, or we don't know how many carriers he's aware of, he probably is aware of all of them, but there's always that circumstance that he's not actually aware of how many fleet carriers there are. If, for example, we do move Kiributai forward, obviously Kiributai 1 forward, the 4 fleet carriers there, and Akagi and Karga, sorry, aren't detected, that is going to create some doubt in his mind. He might be thinking, okay, right, crap, there's 2 carriers that aren't actually, well, spoken for. So it might actually create a situation where he may, even by a day, delay his offensive operations, and even a day could make a difference between whether it actually happens or whether it doesn't happen at all. So we do need to try and, if they are there, create a series of events that are going to make it really more attractive to not raid than it is to raid. Whew, that's a lot of talking there. Oh dear. Okay. So we're going to hit Luganville here. We can do this without any issues. There we go. Unload cargo. Right, now the force is going to actually head over here to Luganville. Just linger there. I'm going to put them on high threat tolerance. Well, we'll put them on normal threat tolerance. I think at the end of the day, there's not going to be anything here. As Japan mines are limited, you have enough on a motor launch, or ML, I'm not entirely sure what ML's. An impulse delay, 12 fields of 150 each. You get enough each month to another submine layers use a separate pool. Okay, fantastic. And very good information there, very useful information as well. Okay, so you're going to be following with this force as well. That's fine by me. Yep. Obviously, as we are moving only here, we aren't going to be using as much fuel. It's a good thing as well, because obviously this gives our logistics time to catch up as well, which is quite good. Okay, so Kiributai 2 Electric Boogaloo. You're going to head out here to Luganville. Now, as we want our zeros to change their settings, we do want to have increased amount of combat aperture. So what I'm going to do here is increase combat aperture to about 50% across all carrier fighters in the Hex. And the reason for that is we do want to obviously have more fighters available in case of action. We also do not want to exhaust the crew. So I think 50% is probably a good amount of active fighters And then we'll see, really. We might increase it. I'm open to, yeah, I'm open to actual, views, really. Okay. How many days will each turn be as it goes along? So each turn is a single day. And we started this campaign in September 2017. I mean, obviously it's now 2017, God no, 2018, Jesus Christ. And September 2018, and it's now obviously March 2019. And we're only just in January. So it's going to be a series that goes on quite a few years. So I do hope you guys enjoy my voice, because you're going to be hearing it for a few years. It's going to be quite the experience. I think I might end up with like withdrawal symptoms afterwards. We'll see. Okay. See, it's interesting. Yeah, okay, so there's detection over both. Ideally, he loses actually sightings, but he doesn't have. The important thing here is he actually has no detection over the landing forces. So this is actually really interesting. Because he knows where Kidabutai is, but he doesn't know where the actual landing forces is. I mean, he might actually, may actually not be aware of the landing forces. So we do have that advantage. Obviously, it would have been fantastic had Kidabutai not been detected at all, but we can't have everything our way, can we? Hello there, Goodman. How you doing, my friend? So indeed, we'll gather our forces over at Luganville. But then again, if we do take Luganville, that's obviously going to reveal our position. But we'll see. I think he knows that something's up, so I think at the end of the day, there's not much in the way of subterfuge, I think that's the word, that can really be accomplished. But as long as he's not aware of the actual numbers as such, that's obviously going to be quite good. Right. Indeed, Happy New Year. We'll gather our forces here. This is going to be quite good. So say about 2 to 3 days before we can actually have all the forces assembled into one. At least then we can actually organize them more effectively. Our logistics will be closer as well. Now, the Yakazi is complaining about lack of fuel. We could refuel her at sea, but I don't think it makes a particular difference then. So we'll replenish at sea here. Minimal refuel. Yep, okay, so she loses a hex of movement, but that's okay. Move 1 hex, I suppose. But at the end of the day, at least Yakazi has the fuel then to move on. There's only about 1,000 men here. Well, just over about 1,500 men. Obviously, that would be quite nice. Indeed. Now, I do have the Kashima and Kotori over here as well, so we do have the option to actually bring additional fast transports with additional troops out here quite quickly. Well, fairly quickly. As also we do have elements of the forces over here still, like such as the 61st Naval Guard, and of course the Maizuru 1st SLF. What are your current / immediate, well, the major one really here is this area. This is where the main thrust of our invasions are coming. But we will also be invading the islands of Mindanao with the 56th Division. We do have a few forces heading down here. Well, they're on course towards Babaldoab to hit the south course of Borneo. I do have a force which is actually making its way to Track, which will then actually be rather interesting where we have them dispatched to. And it's good to see that we do have at least 5,600 troops available within a couple of days away. We also do have 2,000 men that just come out of Midway. Granted, it's not the entire regiment. We will try to grab the entire regiment, but we'll see what we can do. Obviously, if there's carriers in the area, we do not want to be actually nearby there. We don't want to obviously see that shipping sunk. Okay. So, yeah, it's hard to say. There's a lot of plans here. A lot of plans. We do have fast transports that are making their way down here towards Sarawak and obviously the northern coast of Borneo. We do have a Singapore Express which is obviously making her way down here to the Sulu Sea. And we also are progressing in our invasion of Malaya. We have obviously the campaign in China going ahead quite nice actually. And the campaign in China is going quite nice. We did have some setbacks, but not too massively. Yeah, these troops out from Midway are going to do quite nice, be quite handy for us in the future, actually. Wake is being built up now, which is good. Whew. A lot of talking there. That's what I love about this game. Right, they're all on target. I think what we're going to do here then is, considering the sheer amount of power that's heading this way, we'll have some sort of detection anyway. Well, actually, what I'll do here then is, let's head over to the Cheetos. Maybe I'll be here when you invade my hometown in Malaya. Yeah, exactly. Right, you're running reconnaissance over Luganville. Once the illustrious class comes. Yeah. Right, good. Did I set two of them to actually look over Luganville? Maybe indeed. Right, reconnoiter. Right, you're going to be here in town now as well. That's good. And will you finish this turn today? I'll try to finish the turn today. Now the most important question is, what is the operational name of the thrust to New Caledonia? Well, I mean, this is it. I need a Japanese name, don't I? I'll leave it open to operational names suggested. Let you guys decide. Okay. Operation News. Oh dear. Probably. Right. Okay. We are running our flow planes hard, but I think it's worthwhile. These guys are actually running night operations here at the moment. Okay, let's take a look at our actual plane setup then. So currently have them set to combat air patrol, 50%. Now we do have our dive bombers and obviously our torpedo bombers to take into consideration. So we do have them set to naval attack here. Don't have a target. Torpedo bombers are the same here, 8,000 feet. Range is out to 9. Obviously effective range is going to be about 8 hexes. Yeah. Oh no, sorry, normal radius is about 7 hexes, okay. Do you have Jakes on reconnaissance? We have 2 subdivided squadrons running reconnaissance over Ifet and Tana. I might actually have the F1M2 Pete actually run in reconnaissance over Luganville, but I might just actually take some float planes from over here and actually have reconnaissance over Luganville. Yeah, I do have 1 aircraft here. I'll use this one to actually run reconnaissance over Luganville then. Okay. Put them all on naval search. Yeah, I mean, this isn't it, I suppose. We'll run detection over these islands then once we come closer then. Hello there, Kara, how you doing there, my friends? Isn't this game move? Well, this is a turn-based game, so basically we have the orders inputted, and then obviously we see, we'll see the actual order resolved in the following turn. And the best way to actually take a look at the series to really understand what's going on is if you take a look at the actual playlist for the series, and if you take a look at the first episode for each of them, you can actually see what's going on. Pizza more likely to survive in checks. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, detection level, detection level. Okay, we'll go with that then. Yeah, true. The paratroopers are actually currently on their way to where they need to be. Actually, at the moment, I do need to check something here. So, I think we have... is the Naval Headquarters? Ah, right, so they're about 2 days out here. Yep, so the 3rd Fleet Headquarters is on its way to Hong Kong, so obviously they'll be taking up residence there. That's good. Okay. The paratroopers are... Mine lane task force over there. I would like to actually have that sent to the Pacific so I can actually make use of it. They're on their way back to Japan. Ah, here we go. Here's the Yokosuka first SLF. So these are the paratroopers. So they're on their way down to South Pacific. I'd like to actually have them made available to use against the enemy. Now, to be honest, what I might do is actually have them sent towards Bab-al-Dawar, but it'll be interesting to see, because at the end of the day, I think they could be very effective in an island-hopping campaign. But we'll see, really. It might even be that we end up using the paratroopers to help us in a bid against Fiji, but we'll have to really see on the situation. Make sure you place reconnaissance over the man, get intelligence troops and, well, airfield, yeah. We're out of range at the moment, so we will definitely be doing that once we can. Okay. Speaking of which... I see you go. Right, let's take a look here. What I'm going to do here then is actually... I'll take this element here. Just these 2 ships. Sorry, 2 aircraft. Now, there's one in reserve. I do have just 2 here. Right, what I'm going to do is take the sea detachment. Interesting. Hello there, Keith. How you doing, my friend? Right, what I want to do here then is actually take a look at these escorts, because I'm looking at the float planes and I'm not seeing them here. You don't have any float planes. You do have float planes. Okay. Well, it's a difficulty because obviously I need some reconnaissance out here. We'll have to use our naval bombers, really. Yep, all... well, the 6 fleet carriers are here. We do have 2 escort carriers here by Cam Bay. We do have 2 light carriers over here out in the South China Sea on their way towards the Sulu Sea here at the moment. Operation Yamiro. What does that translate as then? Let's take a look. What do I have that is at, right, the tone of the Chikuma could operate with them. She does actually run some E13A1 Jakes here as well, which is quite good. Yeah, Chikuma, she only has a little bit of engine damage. So we'll have Chikuma actually put into this force here as well. It's not a bad idea, I suppose, at the end of the day. I might have the tone put in there as well, but the thing is we need to be mindful of the amount of fuel that's going to be used. Oh, Operation Stop. Okay, I like that. I like that. Operation Yamiro. That's cool, I like that. Operation Stop. Yeah, sure, we'll go ahead and call it Operation Stop then. Sorry if I missed this question already, but when are you going to start bombing Singapore back to Stone Age? Well, what we're going to be doing actually is considering that one. We can see that he's not been actually, well, running combat patrol for the last couple of turns now, so we actually do need to punish him. We'll just use, like, small squadrons, really, escorted by fighters, and just, yeah, punish him at the end of the day for it. There's a lot of planes on the ground, and if he's not going to run combat patrol, then we'll force him to. Okay. Right. Yeah, Operation May. May. The May. Right, I do have the F1M2 Pete's over here. We'll keep them available to obviously run reconnaissance when it comes to bombardment, perhaps. But they're running night operations, which is fine. Yeah, I mean, the good news is I'll be able to, well, I'll actually be able to run reconnaissance then. So we'll keep them, hard to say, really. Well, let's actually take a look here, then. So the F1M2 Pete's are going to have range of about 4 hexes, which is just actually within range of Numea. So we'll have the F1M2 Pete's actually set to that. Now, the interesting question is, could I actually transfer... Well, then again, no, they're more survivable, so might as well use them. At least we do have an actual semi-capital ship here of this force now, which is quite nice. At least we have some more guns and more AA, which is handy. Yeah, she brings about 336 AA. Just not really a lot, but at least she brings some armor, which is handy. Okay, have the F1M2 Pete's, so day operations. Reconnaissance, obviously we want to figure out what is going on Numea. Now, it's going to complain that they're out of range yet, but they'll be able to, once they're in range, run detection. We'll have the Jakes run naval searches, obviously we're going to be needing targets, and obviously to ascertain really what's in the area. That works for me. Okay. They're going to merge. Kashima's on our way back here. At Tarawa, we don't have much in the way of fuel. To be honest, what I could do here then is actually have the oiler escorted by Kashima and Kotori. I mean, that's a fairly decent escort force. Not too dissimilar in speed, and at least there's actually a fairly capable escort. Against basically, it'd be able to ward off like light raiders, I'd hope anyhow. But yeah, it'd be quite nice. Right, how are the Mercing guys doing? They're actually doing quite well. And THG must be gathering quite a blow given the slow speed of your advance down the peninsula. And this is it, it's only so far that we can actually advance to a degree as we're marching. When airplanes speak in Japanese. That's awesome. Right, I'm going to cancel the unloading process here. We'll have a Kaizo Maru actually made ready to head down towards Numea. I think in the end of the day, another 5,638 units of fuel is going to be quite handy. Now, question is going to be, if I have them in a fast transport, can they actually have the tanker in with them? Though we do have a Kashima Maru over here. She's actually a troop ship that is actually very capable. Yeah, she has good capacity. Good speed there, very good speed. I hope that if you do hit his aircraft in Malaysia, but he does not have any combat air patrol this turn, we'll be running combat air, well, we'll be running a sweep with one squadron, and the other squadron will be escorted anyway, so we are going to have a lot of zeros over target anyhow. Okay. Kashima Maru. Oh, she can't dock here due to her size. It's a shame. Right. No strategic mode. I wonder if we need to actually dock to actually have them transferred in combat mode. That makes sense. She's too bloody big. Not by much, just about 1,400 tons. That's a shame. I could use her to strategically move non-essential units, but that's a shame. Because she would have been quite handy. Okay, we have these forces here that have just arrived as well, so we do have some additional troop transports. 6,840 tons. Ah. 5,830 tons. Yep, she could make it in there, just about. The Montevideo. She's unloading about 12 troops here, so then once she's actually done... Okay. Shit. Yeah, very true. Endurance is basically, range like fuel. Okay. I don't think we'll be able to get away with that, but that's fine. We do have the Osaka Maru here. So the tanker can't be moved in there. It's actually funny, but the Katori has better AA than the Tenru. So yeah, she makes an actual better escort for that sort of thing. Obviously there's a difference in speed. Okay. I suppose the thing is, what do I want to... Well, I think I'd rather use a Tenru. Due to the fact that obviously should not be moving at full speed. She obviously does have the capability to actually be a threat. Due to 2 destroyers here, obviously lacking fuel. That's fucking Katori. Quite a bit of systems damage there. So, would a low endurance vessel need to resupply? Yep, they need to refuel. Otherwise, obviously, they're going to be stuck. They can still move, but they're only going to move like a few miles a day, if that. And they do take damage, obviously, to represent the fact that they are there with like no supply. Right. If I was to disband you then, and let's take a look at the actual repair. Hello there, Judy. Okay, ooh, yeah, it's a fair amount of time there. She's low on ammo as well. Okay. We'll have the tanker escorted by the Kotori and Kashima. I mean, I could go for just the Kotori, considering that Kotori is the only one in the port at the moment. I could give some long, well, fair endurance patrol boats as well. Maybe. Yeah. They could be quite handy, as obviously we will have to worry about submarines down that way. We do already have 2 patrol boats, but, well, in that area, but I think maybe another 2 might be quite nice. Not quite well. Ugh. This is what happens when I'm tired. Like, it's funny, actually. Finished work, had about 2 hours of chill, then went for the gym class, and, yeah, had some food, and then started streaming, really. So, I'm feeling about a little bit of tiredness at the moment. We might have a little bit longer. Okay, we'll go ahead with the Kijomaru and the Kaimaru, as well as the Kotori. I think that sort of leaves a balanced force that does have a chance to survive. So we'll have them dispatched towards Luganville, obviously then they'll be able to meet up. But yeah, it's not bad. I think at the end of the day it'd be good to actually get some additional fuel out here. She could be converted to an oiler in the future, but right now she's obviously not able to do so. But it would be nice to actually get some additional fuel out that way. I'm watching this at 5 AM, goddamn dude. You are committed, my friends. Okay. I think the most important thing is we have somewhat got our strategy under wraps over here. There's a big escort for only 1 ship. Yeah, true. But you have to bear in mind that the logistics here in this area is so very strained at the moment. Every bit of fuel is going to make a massive difference. I mean, that fuel could actually give Kirubutai additional week to operate, or 2 weeks to operate, depending really on the fuel usage. We are going to be using more fuel than we anticipated, so we're making a full speed thrust towards New Caledonia. So yeah, I'd say that we definitely need the additional fuel, and I don't think it's a bad idea to be, well, somewhat cautious about it. I mean, we are using an old cruiser and 2 patrol boats, so it's nothing spectacular, but at least it does have something of a chance to actually, well, look after the goddamn thing. Even if only ever so slightly. Right. Now, still, I'm quite interested in what we could do here with the 51st Naval Guard unit here at Savai. That'd be nice. Let's take a look at these islands, and we should have the base forces actually operational now. Extra supports required. Yeah, they don't give much in the way of support, do they? Okay, so the next question here then is, do we actually move our A620s in Malaya to KWJ? The ones I'm talking about are these ones here, so 1 second, I'll take a look and show you. The ones over here are Low Star. Now we have over 20 A620s over here. It would take quite a while to move, and obviously not all of them would make it to KWJ. But I'm kind of thinking here is perhaps we actually do transfer these squadrons to the Marsh Islands. They're fairly experienced, and they could be reinforced while at the Marsh Islands. But I think it would actually help to alleviate our concerns when it actually comes to the Marsh Islands, because at the moment we have no fighter escorts there, no fighter defense at all there. So I do favour sending them to KRJ, so at least we do actually have something in the way of defense. It would probably not be anywhere near enough, but I think at the end of the day, having something rather than nothing is probably going to be quite worthwhile. We do stand a great amount of chance to actually lose a couple of these. Yeah, we would probably lose a couple of them on the transfers over, but I think it might be worth that risk. When are your other groups? Yeah, that's a good question. Let's take a look. Circuit Baru, Babaldwab. I mean, maybe I could transfer these A5M4s. Maybe have them upgraded to A6M20s, actually, perhaps. We do have more A5M4s in Nagasaki. Kotobaru, Alo Star, and Nagasaki. I might transfer the ones at Babaldwab. Haha, fantastic! Okay, so the 23rd Air Flotilla has finally arrived here at Babaldwab. Now that dramatically increases our potential out here. Transfer a group from Kidabutai and move the ones at a low star to replace them. Plausible. Okay, what's the size of a dock here? We do have a fair dock size. What we'll do then is transfer the warships out. Dock and unload. Okay, so once we do have the 23rd Air Flotilla unloaded at Babaldwab, we'll have the ability to actually use torpedoes here in this area should we wish to. But what I'm interested in obviously is building up this airbase here, so that's going to be quite handy. Yay, death to the filthy Gaijin. Oh, from Kotobaru, right, okay. We do have, I think this is a engineer unit and a naval unit. I mean, the engineer unit would be fantastic to actually move out, to be honest. Let's see. Yeah, we can definitely have these guys ready to move. What do we actually have that could accomplish that? The MC Saigon Maru? Yeah, she can definitely do that. Yep, go and pick them up. I don't think they're going to go do that, but I'm going to tell them to go do that. See you later then, Ado. Have a good time, my friend. Right, so head over there in fast transportation. We'll have you put into... Yep, you're already in combat mode, that's fine. It's only 4 engineers, but that could be quite handy. Small amount of aviation support could be quite useful down here. Okay, so we do have the aircraft tender. Sanuki Maru. Right, let's see. We'll have the AMC and the AV actually in together here. They both move the same speed. FYI, after invasion bonuses end in 41, 42, AMC has amphibious bonus similar. Not as much LSD. Alright, that's good then. I keep training more engineers. We gain engineers, well, we gain ground units as we're permitted, really. There's like an actual chart. So we can't choose to actually like train them like ourselves. We get them when we're given, really. Alright, take a look at ground reinforcement schedule. As you can see, 2 days we'll have some additional engineers at Tokyo. 3 days we'll have another element in the 84th Naval Guard at Saipan. You always hear about the amazing natural harbour, Manus Island north of the Bal. I mean, it could be, it's a level 1 port at the moment. I think the thing is we'd have to build it up no matter what. It'd be nice to secure islands that do have an airfield, so at least we can actually run immediately with most aircraft. But it could be done. It could be done. The Admiralty Island is perhaps worth looking at, really. Yeah, very happy they've arrived. We do have the Yokosuka Sasebo elements. These guys are going to be hitting Borneo. I do have this force with the Yokosuka on board. I just need an actual escort to get them here. Well, get them out. That force is... currently moving there. I'm going to have them dispatched to Takao actually instead. You're headed to Tokyo. That's a good idea. I like that. Oh, funny, I had a submarine over here. Must have returned to refuel, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. If I could talk, I could get a real job. I like it, man. Okay. Well, I think what we're going to do here is we're going to call the stream here for tonight. The reason being, I'm a little bit tired, and I don't want to be, like, low energy for you guys. So, we have actually made some very important decisions here. We do have a clear idea of what we're going to be doing over New Maya. So, we are going to be approaching the island with half a Kidobutai, a good 2/3 of Kidobutai to actually secure and scour the area of, well, shipping, which we'll actually do to secure this area of the ocean. I think what we could then do then perhaps is, we'll see really how the situation develops, but it might be that we then make steam towards Fiji to clear the naval assets over here, depending on what's actually available. But I think we have arrived at a time that is quite advantageous for us, because we can see here there's at least 3 warships here, a heavy cruiser, 2 light cruisers. We're aware that there's like 2 or 3 cruisers over here. There's something like a cruiser destroyer here to pick up and go. But his forces are spread out for the most part, and the good news is we'll be able to hit an actual warship here as well. Actually quite good. So, we do find him actually somewhat split up here at the moment. And if our reports and our hunches actually do turn out to be true that his carriers are at Pearl Harbor, he may see this as, well, us in a disadvantageous position. But I think in reality we can turn this upon him, because I think what we need to do here then really is force him to have just that slightest moment of just, well, not being sure. If he's not sure of a raid of the Marshall Islands, that's all I need. That's all I need. I just need a couple days. We need to figure out how we can try and buy ourselves a couple days. But I reckon we'll probably have boots on the ground on the 7th of January, perhaps. I think at the end of the day, that gives us ample opportunity to get things planned out and to get things prepared. I think we'll run a bombardment of the troops at Noumea, but we'll see how the situation persists. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll have Reconnaissance soon, so that's going to be very good for us. Okay, so what we'll do then is, in the next episode, is we'll finish off our orders, we'll go over the rest of the South Pacific, but there's not too much for us to really do. A lot of this will be quite quickly done. We'll set up a small raid over Singapore with our bombers, and from there, much of the stuff is actually quite easy, as it's all kind of going ahead quite nicely. So I'd like to say thank you very much for that, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big old... it's a big old humble pie, actually, to see you guys come here day in, day out. Well, stream in, stream out, and I really do appreciate it. It does make a massive difference. And if you guys would like to support me and the channel, you can do so via Patreon. It is a fantastic platform to actually support myself, and it really does make a difference. At the end of the day, it was thanks to you guys that I was able to buy a new microphone, and yeah, it's like it really does help me just do so very much. Helps me buy new books, and learn even more, and try to be the best entertainer I can be for you guys. So, thank you so very much. I'll leave a link here in the actual chat there if you guys would like to consider that. Don't feel bad if you can't. Everybody's got to eat at the end of the day, and I'd rather you guys put yourself before me. At the end of the day, I'm just a guy on YouTube, and yeah, you've got to look after yourselves, guys. Right, thank you very much there, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a fantastic evening, morning, day, whatever the hell you want to call it, twilight for all I care. Until next time, thank you and goodbye. If you guys would like to continue the conversation further, please go ahead and actually join the Discord. You'll be able to find quite a nice community there. Nice little growing community, which I'm quite proud of myself. And indeed, feel free to message me there. No issue at all. Until next time, thank you and goodbye. I'll tend to be away for the next one. I love it, man. Thank you all so very much, ladies and gentlemen. I will be streaming over on the Matrix and Slytherin channel tomorrow night from 6 PM GMT to 9 PM GMT as we continue with Operation Olympic, which is going to be quite intriguing. Until next time, good night for now, guys. You've been fantastic.